Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Flopbuster Movie Show live with Tony and Gabe
From Lyle,
Lyle,
Illinois.
Lyle, Illinois. What up, Good Real Hunting? That's Brett. We got Brett in the chat right now. Good to see you, man. Congratulations on 600.
Yes, I was
awesome.
the 600th.
You were the 600?
I was the 600th.
Oh, what a good guy. Look, we got Connor in here, ready to talk some Legend. We're gonna get to Legend soon. We finally got to watch that. This whole episode idea was Connor's idea.
Yeah, basically watching underrated 80s, I want to say cult.
Just like cult classic movies.
Classic movies.
Movies that are underrated gems or like a certain crowd
or forgotten,
really love.
Forgotten 80s movies that people just like don't think about as much nowadays. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be a really exciting episode. I do want to say we try to watch, I think, 11 movies. I missed two.
Did you?
This is the first time I didn't want to come in here online and be like, I totally watched it. And I have like IMDb notes or something. I just didn't get a chance to.
No.
And one of them, or both of them, I'm actually pretty disappointed because you said they were both really, really good.
They were really good, actually. I really enjoyed them. I watched all of them. I had no work all week, so I had nothing but time.
No, Connor, thank you for the idea. And yeah, man, congratulations at 600. Hopefully we get there one day. Yeah.
What's going on, Uncle? How you doing today?
All right. So before we get to the movies, we always start off the show with what we've seen lately.
Right.
I haven't seen anything. I saw Spider-Man No Way Home again. My brother has been in the military, so he did not get a chance to see the movie. He avoided all spoilers. So watching his reaction to seeing it was pretty much a joy. It was really awesome.
Nice.
So that was fun. Other than that, I've just been watching these movies that we've been putting on here, man.
Well, I watched Cheaper by the Dozen, the new remake by Disney, and then I watched the Steve Martin ones, both Cheaper by the Dozen and Cheaper by the Dozen 2.
Was this by choice?
It was by choice. It was. I like those. I like Steve Martin. And
I love Steve Martin.
You know what had me on Steve Martin was watching Roxanne. So I was like, "Ooh, Steve Martin, let's watch this."
That's the one that I missed. And it's also a Steve Martin movie I haven't seen. I love The Jerk, Father of the Bride, Three Amigos, but yeah, it's always been on my list, and I just didn't get to it this week.
Right.
But, yeah, I haven't seen anything other than that. I've seen the newest episode of Winning Time, which is the Lakers show that's on HBO right now, which I think is great, and everybody should be watching it. It's a really cool, insightful, and funny series. Couple of news things I want to run down. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles does rock. I watch it every year. I finally showed it to Victoria, I think this past Thanksgiving, and you really liked it too, didn't you? Yeah.
That's the one movie I always miss out on during the holiday season.
Oh, you gotta watch it, man.
Movie. Have you never seen it?
I saw it once.
You gotta change that. Make it a tradition.
I do. There's so many traditions though for
you have
movies.
to like and there's always a new movie where you remember this movie, and then suddenly that movie becomes a tradition.
Right
around the holiday season. So let's run down some movie news.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things that happen in the world of movies this week. So I'm going to quickly run down some topics, and then we'll talk about them one by one. All right. So first news topic of the day, Nick Cage is going to be Dracula in a film called Renfield, directed by Chris McKay. He did the Lego Batman movie, and it's about Dracula's assistant who falls in love.
Okay.
So it's a horror comedy, and this is Nicolas Cage's first live action big screen studio movie since I believe 2011. He's done some animated work, voiceover work, but other than that, he stayed in the indie genre for the past 10, 11 years.
Because it's Nicolas Cage.
It's Nicolas Cage, but he's in the biggest comeback of his life right now.
I hope so. I'm in the camp that I love Nicolas Cage. Like, Nicolas Cage is like either you love him or you hate him.
But he always brings 100% to everything he does.
Right.
What's up, Mario? We got Mario in here. If this is Flopbuster, please do not lie. Tell me the best thing from Star Wars: Return of the Jedi. No, that's Mario in a Riddler voice. Best thing from Star Wars: Return of the. It's the Ewoks, man. It's always the Ewoks. Those things are savages.
But they're so cute and cuddly.
They're cute and cuddly, and they will fucking kill you. And they're also kind of rapey too with Princess Leia, but that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for this movie. I think Universal is on a stride with the revamping of the classic monsters. I know The Mummy did not do well for them, but The Invisible Man was one of my favorite horror films of the past few years.
They gave too much creative control to Tom Cruise for the money.
They did. And we're going to get on Tom Cruise. He's also on the news segment of the day. So you're going to want to stick around for that. So I'm really excited for this. And it's a horror comedy. Chris McKay has impressed me with the stuff he's done in animation. So I think this can be really, really cool. Nicolas Cage, big screen return. If you've seen the images, he looks very much like Christopher Lee or Bela Lugosi. It looks like they're combining all those elements. So new vampire movie, Dracula movie, I'm there.
Yes.
The space battle, Return of the Jedi, is one of my all-time favorite space battles. I love Return of the Jedi. I know it gets a lot of hate now, but I mean, as a kid, Star Wars is meant for kids anyway, and that's always been one of my favorites. So, second topic. Speaking of like Marvel stuff too, because we always cover Marvel every so often. Early reactions to Morbius, a movie that we've been dying to see just so we could stop watching the trailers. Early reactions are calling this movie absolutely terrible. And also details about Michael Keaton's cameo in the movie where he does play the same Vulture from the No Way Home franchise.
Right.
How does that work? Apparently, the director spoiled his own movie in an interview, detailing that Vulture enters the universe the same way Venom exits and enters his own universe. So I'm not sure how that works. The movie looks really bad. I'm going to see it.
What are you talking about?
I think we're going to go watch it day one. It looks bad.
Listen, day one, I am sitting there day one. I am all in for Jared Leto. I love Jared Leto. I'm part of the Jared Leto cult. He's the best Joker. Listen,
now you're just acting crazy. Jared Leto. You know, I love Jared Leto in House of Gucci. He is, if you guys haven't seen House of Gucci, that movie has some of the best overacting ever. Jared Leto in that movie is fucking crazy. Yeah, fuck Jared Leto. It's true. He's wild. He's nuts. But please, if you watch House of Gucci, he's so perfectly campy in that. But
you can't even tell that's Jared Leto.
No, you can't tell it's him. But then he does this Mario voice the entire time.
It's me, Mario.
Why don't they like my ideas? That's him the entire movie. I'm not sure about this Morbius movie. I like the character Morbius. Secret Room, yeah.
I'm all in for Morbius. I've always loved Morbius.
I like how perfectly 90s it looks, but then I think we should keep it in the 90s. That way I never have to see the trailer again. Panic Room, man. Panic Room, he was great in Panic Room. That's one of my favorite.
He was great in My So-Called Life.
And he was great. He's a good actor. I think he's just also, he has some screws loose. But that's besides the point.
He's a good, you know what? Okay, so his acting aside, his band, 30 Seconds from Mars,
right?
He puts on a great live show. Like I've seen him, he performed with Linkin Park a decade ago. And as far as him as a singer, as a frontman to the band,
he's a talented guy, man. Mario says Leto and Blade Runner 2049 is pretty good. Definitely a good supporting actor. Yeah, Blade Runner 2049. I mean, he's great in those roles. He adds a lot to it. Good Real Hunting says, I just never see the need of these villain movies for Marvel. Like, are we supposed to root against them or not? And you bring up a good point because Venom is definitely an anti-hero, but I do wonder like how far Sony can go with going back to the well. It's like, fuck, like, Marvel has Spider-Man. What can we use? Like, what Spider-Man supporting characters can we use for our movies?
Not much. I mean, I think that was the point of Marvel.
They want to do a secret
Spider-Man
agent.
Is because Sony doesn't know what to do.
They don't know what to do, and they want to do a secret agent Aunt May movie. I don't think they'll ever be able to do that. I don't think they should do that. But that was in the pipeline for some time. I think the trend of Deadpool. Sony wants to cash in on that anti-hero bump. They definitely did, especially with Venom and Deadpool coming out around the same time. It works for Deadpool, and that's because of Ryan Reynolds. Jared Leto is no Ryan Reynolds.
No.
But it's Jared Leto. So anybody that's excited for Morbius, it's finally coming soon.
It's me.
I think I've seen that Morbius trailer almost as much as I see Nicole Kidman every week, which is more than I see my actual parents whenever I go to AMC. So next big thing on this, I mentioned Tom Cruise. Now, this is really interesting. I love good old Uncle Tommy.
Okay.
I think he's crazy. He's like the crazy uncle or something. Everywhere.
Probably crazier.
He's crazier than that. He jumps on couches. He's talking about, all that weird Scientology stuff.
I'm only watching Wes Anderson movies from now on. Let me know when you talk about real movies.
He's a great director. So Tom Cruise is lawyering up to sue Paramount over Mission Impossible 7's release window. And right now, the studio window for every big movie is 45 days. That way, they can all put it on their streaming service,
Right.
i.e., HBO Max, Paramount Plus, Peacock. And Tom Cruise hates this idea. Like, he passionately hates this
Most
idea.
of these actors hate the idea of streaming. I mean, their bread and butter is the box office.
And another thing is that Tom Cruise, apparently, due to word of mouth, is that he makes more money than the studio does on his own movies. He has a huge percentage of the box office. I've heard that he's also like kind of the secret head of Paramount, if there ever was. Like, he's not the head of Paramount, but if, like, he calls the shots there on a lot of things involving his own projects. So yeah, Tom Cruise is planning to sue Paramount over Mission Impossible 7. Movie's not even out yet.
I mean, Scarlett Johansson sued Disney.
That's true. Over Black Widow.
Over Black Widow.
I believe she won that lawsuit too.
She did. Well, they settled, but she won.
She won. Let's see. Another one. Black Panther Wakanda Forever finally wraps. So I know we mentioned it on the show a while ago, with everything involved with Chadwick Boseman. Ryan Coogler's been through a lot. He just almost got arrested for no reason. I don't know if you've seen that video.
I did see that video.
Which is terrible, and it's just like really stupid. But that whole production has been through so much over the course of like 3 years. It's finally wrapped. Good for them. I guess we'll see how the movie turns out. I have faith in Ryan Coogler, but everything we've heard about Letitia Wright, and
I don't have faith in her.
Me neither.
I mean, I thought she was great as Shuri as
right, but everything we've heard since,
everything we've heard since, as far as an actress, I don't know if I'm convinced about her.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. One thing I'm gonna touch on really, really quick. I don't know if you watched it. I know I did. I didn't really ask you about this. So Matt Reeves released the deleted Joker scene from the Batman. So it's finally online. We get a fully fledged 5-minute little, almost like a short film clip between Batman and the Joker.
It was unnecessary.
I agree. I think it's great. It's a great little scene, but it spells out every theme of the movie. By the end of Bruce's journey, everything the Joker says in that scene, we learn that by the end.
Well, so not only that, I feel like, and it's going to be spoilers, obviously, for the Batman, but I feel like it's unnecessary because he's an early Batman, right? Early version of Batman. Like, why are you going to the Joker for help?
Yeah. And I know the reasoning is definitely that Silence of the Lambs thing, for sure. Which, for me, that is awesome. That is really, really cool.
Yeah.
But I don't need the Joker yet. I'm happy that he's there. I love the actor they picked. But I'm more so wait and see, but use him as a background character.
Right.
So cool scene, unnecessary. Happy that they released it online and it was not in the movie. Did not need to be in the movie. It's already 3 hours long. You really don't need it.
No.
All right, man. So that is the news cycle of the day. We had some pretty cool topics to talk about. But let's jump into the movies. We've curated a list of 11 films.
11 films.
You got to watch all 11. I got busy throughout the week, so I did not make it.
So you say.
Making some kind of signals when you're done talking Batman. I haven't seen it, so turn on the volume. We're done talking about
We're done.
Batman.
No more Batman.
No more Batman.
No more Batman.
Batman's done. Sorry about that. I forget that some people still haven't seen it. I'm with you, Tony. Joker is cool, but I'd rather dive into the other Batman characters. I'm waiting for Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze would be the big one that I'm waiting for right now.
I want a Mexican Bane.
Mexican Bane that's very intelligent and smart and all those things. All right. Batman talk is over. Let's dive into these movies. 11 films. I can tell you the two I didn't watch right now is Little Darlings and Roxanne with Steve Martin.
Right. So I'm going to take over for Little Darlings since I'm the one that watched it. So Little Darlings takes place at the late 70s, early 80s in a summer camp when people used to go to those. It's two girls from the opposite end of the tracks and they fight a lot. And basically the plot of the movie is who's going to lose their virginity. They make a bet within the girls on who's going to lose their virginity first. Obviously, it sounds like the plot of American Pie.
It's like American Pie meets The Parent Trap.
Correct. But it's like, so American Pie basically got its inspiration from this movie. So it's a cute coming-of-age movie because one girl lies. She said that she did have sex, and then the other one girl says, oh, I didn't have sex, but the roles were reversed. The actual girl that said that she didn't have sex did have sex, and the one that says she had sex didn't have sex. And you don't know, but then at the end they become best friends.
It's a fun little concept.
It's a fun little concept. It was a nice, heartwarming story. It was good.
I think I'll eventually have to like just watch it just for the hell of it.
You do.
That way we could talk about it. So quickly run down Roxanne for us because I know it's based on Cyrano.
And it is based on Cyrano. Steve Martin plays Cyrano in a sense here. And so Steve Martin is funny. He's like the head of like the fire department. He falls in love with the beautiful Daryl Hannah. And she's in love with a new firefighter who's all buff and handsome. And he starts feeding him lines. You know, everybody knows the plot of Cyrano. It's basically the same exact word for Cyrano, except it has Steve Martin in it.
Cool. Awesome. And that's one that it's always been on my list. And I was like, it's always been in my queue on everything it's been on. Haven't gotten a chance to it and still haven't watched it, even when it's an assignment for this podcast. But I think I'm going to have to eventually get it off my watch list for sure.
For sure.
Okay. So I think we should knock out Legend out
Legend?
the way. Because Connor, this is the whole episode. It's based off Legend.
Legend.
That's the 1985 Ridley Scott dark fantasy epic. This movie was originally hated upon release critically.
And Tom Cruise.
And Tom Cruise heavily dislikes it. I know Tim Curry had some things to say about it. But it's gained this huge cult following where this is my first time watching it. I don't know.
It's my first time.
So this is our first time watching it.
First time watch for Legend.
But I know of it. I know about it. I know the people that like it really like it. And the one thing I hear about it is it has this huge, really nice director's cut.
Right.
Which we did not watch.
It's a 2-hour long director's cut.
We did not watch the director's cut.
We watched the 85-minute cut.
We watched the 85-minute theatrical release.
Which is hated by everybody.
Yes. But I know Arrow put out a 2-hour cut. Tom Cruise likes the director's cut. Apparently everybody does. That's the version that I wish that we would have watched because I did like this movie. But the things that I liked about it were the dark fantasy elements. And I wish the story, there was more to chew on. Because you could definitely feel like it was in the editor's room that was spliced up every little moment.
Well, you know why that is, right?
I do not.
Okay, so apparently Ridley Scott was at a screening of his film. And in front of him was a group of potheads. And while they were watching the film, they kept on talking about how boring this movie was, how this movie sucked. So it was a 2-hour version. So upon leaving the movie theater, that's when he decided to cut it down to the 90-minute runtime. It's just based on the opinion of 4 potheads that were sitting in front of him.
But that's how these test screenings worked back in the day. I mean, Ridley Scott cut Blade Runner down multiple times and then put scenes back in, and then he cut it down again. There's like 5 different versions of Blade Runner, the original. So he's known for that quite a bit. As much as I love Ridley Scott, he definitely cuts his movies and then tries to fix them later. There's so much more to help digest in the director's cut, and it flows better. That's what I assumed, because that was the one thing while I was watching. I was like, this movie's not flowing right, but the things that work for it, which I want to get into, is the dark fantasy elements. The score, the entire direction and the vibe is very unsettling, which is cool for a kid's fantasy movie. It's just very unsettling. The cast is pretty solid. I love Tim Curry as the villain. I mean, Tim Curry, you put him in makeup, he's very good at playing these character actor roles. Right. So overall, I really dug Legend, but it just got me a little bit more interested to seek out the director's cut. So I think when I get a chance, I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Like, I like the movie. My only issue with the movie was Tom Cruise. I told you right before we started, my issue with Tom Cruise is that he
Is it the teeth? Are you mad about the teeth?
No, not the teeth. Even though this is like the ugliest Tom Cruise. Like, okay, Legend and The Outsiders is like the ugliest you're ever going to see Tom Cruise in the movie. Like the whole hair, the eyebrows, the teeth. It was like before he like fixed himself up. But my issue with Tom Cruise in Legend is that he looked disinterested the entire time.
I was gonna say that he
looked like he wanted to be somewhere else instead of filming this movie.
I think I liked all the supporting roles more than him, and I forget what's her name, the girl from Ferris Bueller. She plays
Sloane. Well,
yes,
Sloane and Ferris Bueller.
She was great in this, and she definitely fits the vibe of what they're going for. And I don't know, I just love that the dark visuals. It was nasty.
Right.
The practical effects, the special effects of the dwarves and the elves were really awesome.
The
unicorn, everything there was so cool. The moment where everything turns almost yes, that is her, Mia Sarah. She was great in this. And the visuals at the beginning where everything turns to snow, it was awesome. It was really cool. I even saw a bit of like man, Krampus must have pulled influence from this too,
Right.
a little bit.
So it's definitely it's an influential movie.
Visually, it's got to be.
I mean, for the whole genre of dark fantasy, I mean, you could see where people were pulling for Labyrinth and
yeah,
Never-Ending Story type of situation.
This is this whole era. These were the movies that were around for that. What does director's cut mean? Explain. Pretty much the director's cut is the director's original vision unaltered before cuts are made.
Before they edit them, whether they
test screenings. It's not quite an assembly cut, but it's their cut. This is their version of the movie that, if they had it their way, would have been the version that you see on the big screen. Brett's talking about Blade Runner. I wasn't a fan on the first watch. Blade Runner is one of those movies you're either a fan of or you're not.
I wasn't.
Yeah, I can't say Blade Runner is going to be like, oh, it gets better with each rewatch. I personally, in my experience, I think you either like it or you don't.
Right.
I like Blade Runner. I'm not big on it. I think 2049 is the better movie. And even that one is solid, but it's not one of my favorite Denis Villeneuve movies. So Legend was pretty solid, man. Solid, but I feel like the director's cut, I am more than curious. I am going to seek it out and watch it because I want to watch the better version of this.
Absolutely.
So
2 more hours of disinterested Tom Cruise.
Yes. The universe that they have in here is
really the universe is good. Yes.
That's the best part. The universe, the visuals, the effects.
Tim Curry obviously is always good.
Ford's weakest movie. Who?
Ford. From Blade Runner.
Harrison Ford. Oh, Harrison. I was like, what is he talking about? Harrison Ford. Oh, Julian's he's not a fan of Blade Runner. Our buddy Chris gets so pissed when Blade Runner gets eliminated by the Caddyshack in our 80s movie tournament in the first round. Caddyshack is a fantastic movie. It should eliminate any because Rodney Dangerfield, he gets no respect.
No respect.
And we got to give Rodney some respect. So that was Legend.
I think Ford's weakest movie is all the Star Wars movies.
My God. I like Blade Runner. It's good. Okay, so let's jump around, and I was gonna wait to the end. I know you wanted to wait to the end, but I really want to talk about this one because this is the one that it shocked me how much it held up.
Oh,
and that's batteries not included.
Batteries not included?
Oh,
okay.
Man.
You want to talk about batteries not included?
I do.
We could talk about batteries not included.
Because
this was my pick. So as we were going down this list of movies, I said batteries not included. And everybody in this room gave me like, what are you talking about?
I've seen it. It's just been a very long time.
Right.
Time Bandits, first place. I haven't seen that movie in a while.
And it held batteries not included has always held like a special place in like my movie repertoire.
Yeah.
Just because of like the old couple in it and just the story itself, and so I had included on this because I feel like not a lot of people have watched Batteries Not Included. I do feel like it slipped through the cracks of classic 80 movies.
Right.
And so I wanted to bring this to the forefront for everybody.
So I've seen this movie years ago. I was a kid. And Julian, this has got to be one of his mom's favorite movies. So I remember watching it with him years ago. I just remember the naked pregnant lady or her getting painted naked.
Right.
Of course. Why wouldn't I remember that? But the thing that I loved rewatching this was it almost felt like an adult live action, not adult, but like more like a live action Pixar movie.
Right.
In the way that the themes and the story of getting older, I don't know, it really just resonated with me. And the musical score, the fact that Steven Spielberg and his company, Amblin, produced it. And I love anything Amblin does. It has that very heartwarming family adventure feel.
That 80s vibe.
But the big thing where I'm like, why does this feel like a Pixar movie, is that it's written by Brad Bird, who was involved in The Incredibles, The Iron Giant, Ratatouille. So it's got that feel of like a Disney movie.
Like early Pixar, yeah. I mean, those spaceship aliens that they made, they're nice and cute. Like this movie could have been really licensed, and you could have made those little aliens into like, little toys,
the movie didn't bomb either.
It did not bomb, but there wasn't a big name in it.
Yeah, it didn't have it had solid actors from many generations from the 50s up until that point, but it didn't have a big name.
It didn't.
And it didn't have a big critical following. Like critics liked it, but they didn't love it. So this was the movie that really just made me happy watching it. I don't know what it was. It was that warm feeling. And it
It's
has
a warm
great
feeling
message.
because it's basically New York City gentrification is happening, and this apartment building do not want to sell, and they have this thug that's looking, to buy them out, basically to sell
Right.
their apartment complex, and it's just a heartwarming story how they saved their apartment complex, like an Up. It's basically
It does.
Up.
I had so many Up vibes, especially in the beginning of the movie.
Right.
I had no. This is a solid, really good film that just holds up. There's definitely dated elements to it. All
Yes.
these movies have dated elements to them, but objectively, I thought this was damn good. It was really damn good, and another thing that I loved about it, and it goes back to Steven Spielberg, Amblin. This was supposed to be an episode of Amazing Stories. I don't know if you're familiar with that show. I used to watch reruns of it when they would play it on demand, and it's just a bunch of short stories. It's like The Twilight Zone,
Okay.
but Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be an episode of that. They thought it was so good, they said, let's just go ahead and make a movie. And it is good. I think it's really, really good. So thank you for bringing that one on, because that was one that was really worthy to rewatch that I haven't seen in years. So it was cool to watch that with an adult perspective.
That's good.
I'm
happy.
No, yeah,
I'm happy for that one.
That one was awesome. Oh wait, let's shoot to my pick, because I think this was the only one on there that I have strong feelings to, because I love Brian De Palma, and I said, let me pick one of De Palma's underrated movies, because we could talk about the Scarfaces of the world, and he's done The Untouchables, but we've kind of already talked about those on the show. And there was two picks. I was going to go with either Body Double or Blowout, and I said, you know what? The one that's probably the most impactful on movies, and you've seen in a bunch of movies that have come since, is Blowout, where John Travolta plays a boom operator on movies and accidentally picks up a murder. So what were your thoughts on this? Because this is one of my favorites, but I didn't really get your opinion on it.
On Blowout, I thought Blowout was really good.
Julian just says lame.
Blowout was how can I say? I mean, I enjoyed Blowout.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that movie. I don't know if it was my favorite of the bunch that I watched, for sure. But I thought Blowout at least had some cool elements as far as storytelling is concerned. Picking up a murder on this. There were some things that didn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
For example, the way that they just erased the tape. Like, I thought that was like a very easy way to do it.
Yeah.
Other than that, John Lithgow plays an amazing creep in
anything. He's the best in this.
John Lithgow was amazing in this. Like, I thought incredible. He overshadowed, John Travolta.
The one thing that I love about Travolta in this movie, and I can see how he can be overshadowed, is that he's very cool and collective. He's not over the top. He tends to be over the top when he's the lead in things. Right. And here he's just the straight man. This is a noir film. He's thrown into a situation where he's just like, he has to figure out what's going on. What is going on? Right. How do I solve this?
But this movie bombed, and it did, and it big, and it killed Travolta's career for like 14 years. In a sense. I mean, because Jess was talking
everybody involved. It almost killed all of their careers.
Because Jess was talking about like, well, what did he do after this? And she's like,
Urban Cowboy. That's it, maybe.
Which was huge,
but it wasn't enough.
No, that was Urban Cowboy was before this.
Was it 1980?
Yes.
It might have been. Okay, you're right.
So John Travolta does Saturday Night. He does Grease. He does all these big movies.
But then he did a list of bombs
after this movie.
There's a Olivia Newton-John movie he does. It was like
the sequel. Wasn't it the sequel?
No, but it was like they're like, oh, we're like together again, and she's like an aerobics. No, I'm thinking of the wrong movie. They did another movie together, and that bombed. And I think he did a movie with Jamie Lee Curtis where she played an aerobics instructor, and that bombed. So he did like 5 movies.
And then he go on into comedy with the Look Who's Talking,
which is great. Look Who's Talking is pretty good.
But yeah, I mean, he like
that was his comeback movie, pretty much.
In the late, from the 80s to like the early 90s, John Travolta was basically dead.
Until Pulp Fiction.
And the only reason why, and I know you know this, and I know I'm going to steal your thunder on this, the only reason why he was in Pulp Fiction is because Tarantino
loved Blowout.
Which everybody else hated.
And then at that point, there's like now there's this huge. I mean, I love Blowout because I heard great directors that I admire. Go, you got to watch this movie, and then I watch it. I'm like, wow, I fucking love Blowout. But at that time, it wasn't really like
it wasn't loved.
It wasn't that big of a deal. Roger Ebert did love it. He tended to like really defend these movies that like now have this huge cult
because
following.
it is, as much as I say I enjoyed it, right? But for the time frame, I could see it's what the movie was trying to be for that time frame.
Yeah.
You know, it was trying to be, I'm not going to say like a cinematic genius type of movie, but it was definitely had a vision of grandeur. That's what he had a big vision. It had a big vision.
It had a statement on the state of movies, slasher movies, politics.
Because of the governor with the hooker.
Exactly.
You know, so it's basically, he had a grand vision for it. Definitely a lot different than what he had for like Scarface. So like it was a very ambitious movie, and I feel like he may have missed the mark, not by much, but that's probably why people didn't like it as much. But it works well.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy you at least enjoyed it, because now I could introduce you to some other.
John Travolta and Phenomenon was after.
I think that's 95.
95. That was after. That was after
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. So he did Look Who's Talking '89. He hadn't been in horror movie or any movies in a long time.
No.
He did Look Who's Talking, which made a ton of money, but it still wasn't enough to really put him back on the map in a big way. And I think for a while he just was considering not doing movies at all. So we keep getting this user. It's like one of those porno sites. And I keep trying to delete them, and like they keep popping back in. I have no idea. I'm just gonna let them, like, nobody click on the link, obviously.
Nobody click on those links.
Go to Pornhub or Xvideos or browsers. I don't know, whatever you want to do. So that was Blowout. Brian De Palma's Blowout. And let's see, what do we got here? Julian says lame. I don't even think he's watched it. Connor says I need to watch this. I haven't even heard of it. It's an awesome movie, man. You should definitely check it out. Brian De Palma, I think, had one of the best runs out of all my favorite directors.
It's part of the Criterion Collection.
It's part of the Criterion Collection. I gave Gabe my Criterion. I said, guard it with your life. Watch it. Let me know what you think of it.
My dog got a hold of it.
I hope not. If it's on Criterion, it's a big deal. Bad Boys 2 needs to be on Criterion. Okay, so let's jump to another movie, and I just want to make sure that I'm not skipping anything here. That's the main thing.
Should we go comedy?
Yeah, let's do a comedy.
You want to go comedy? The big old Weekend at Bernie's.
Weekend at Bernie's. And this was my pick.
This was your pick. No, that was my pick.
I think it was a joint pick, because I think we just both agreed on it.
We did. Weekend at Bernie's.
You gonna mention the greatest 80s movie? No, because this is about underrated 80s movie. And if you're about to say one of the worst 80s movies out there, he's about to mention it. I'm gonna ignore the comment.
Weekend at Bernie's is the greatest 80s movie of all time. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, I was about to say, because as much as I liked Weekend at Bernie's as a kid, I thought it didn't hold up at all.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? And sometimes nostalgia.
It's still fun.
Yeah.
I still had fun with it.
Nostalgia could be a motherfucker. And I say this because I used to watch Weekend at Bernie's with my father, who my father loved.
My grandpa liked this movie a lot.
Weekend at Bernie's. Like, if my dad's watching something on HBO, he was watching Weekend at Bernie's. So this movie, for me, when we picked it, I was like, all right, cool. It's nostalgia. It's a no-brainer. It's 80s. I loved it when I was growing up. I used to watch it with my father all the time. And upon rewatch, it's still funny, and some of the jokes still hit. But at the same time, this comedy just seemed very dated.
Yeah, I think that's what I was feeling. I was like, man, I remember this being way funnier as a kid. I think it's just dated.
It's just dated.
It's very 80s.
It's very 80s.
Have you guys seen Raising Arizona? It made the Final Four in our tournament. I don't get the love for it. It has beaten Untouchables, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Ghostbusters, and Princess Bride. I love Raising Arizona. That is by far, I would say, top 5 Nicolas Cage movies. I would have thrown that in here for underrated 80s gems, but it's gained so much love by so many people, and I know it made decent money when it came out. So that was one that I excluded from the list, but that's one of my personal favorites. But beating out Ghostbusters, Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Untouchables, and Princess Bride, that is crazy. I love that movie, but Ghostbusters is my favorite comedy of all time. But yeah, I thought, I don't know, man. Like, I think in concept, we remember it being better, and then rewatching it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Nostalgia is a motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I remember it being so good. Now, Be that as it may, I don't know if this needed a sequel, and I think even got a third one. There's like a trilogy of Weekend at Bernie's.
It might be one of the greatest unsung trilogies of all time.
Right? Like, how can I could get past seeing a dead man as a live person for like a whole movie. A second movie, maybe.
What's the movie with Very Bad? No. It's with Jon Favreau when they accidentally killed a prostitute. Have you seen this movie?
It's like
Jeremy Piven, Jon Favreau.
No, I haven't seen it. I think I have, but I can't remember
Diaz, it's in the 90s. Julian saying The Outsiders. I don't know. But yes, that was Weekend at Bernie's.
The Outsiders is a good movie, a better book though.
I agree. But you know what? If you watch the director's cut, which you can find on 4K now, it includes all of the scenes from the book. So I would check that out because the director's cut is really, Stay Golden Pony Boy. Cool. Awesome. So that was Weekend at Bernie's.
Weekend at Bernie's.
It's fine, but I definitely remember liking it better as a kid.
Yes.
And I think that's the verdict on that one. Let's shoot to this movie. This is a movie that my dad really liked. And this is a movie that just like was on in the house at family members. Now it's very dated.
Does Dallas?
No.
Okay.
Deep Throat. This movie is very dated, but dated in the best ways possible. I don't know if you're willing to meet me halfway on this, but the movie I'm talking about is Over the Top.
Over the Top. Are we ready for Over the Top talk?
Over the Top.
Over the Top
is a sweaty, epic showdown of manliness. It's like a switch. As soon as Stallone turns his hat backwards, it's over. He's got this rig in his car where he's just pumping it the whole way, and he's also
it's all about the pumps.
He's also a deadbeat dad in this movie. And
is he a deadbeat dad though?
He kind of is. His name is Lincoln Hawk, which is like the best name ever.
His best 80s name.
It's the best 80s name. He's got the best drip in this movie too. He's got the suspenders with the trucker hat. It's the best. With
the muscles. Okay, so one thing I've noticed in all these 80s movies that I've watched, because as you know, I'm not a huge fan of the 80s in general.
Are you about to say daddy issues? Because the movie's definitely a daddy issue.
No. Besides that, is every single movie in the 80s, for some reason, whether it be action, horror, comedy, everybody's so fucking sweaty. Like, why is everybody sweaty?
It's the oil. Mm-hmm. They had oil boys. Like, if you were on the set of an 80s movie, they said, Gabe, go grease up Sly real quick. And you'd be like, all right.
No, besides Sly, Weekend at Bernie's, oily people, like sweaty-ass people. Freaking Legend, sweaty-ass people. Fucking Top Gun, sweaty-ass people. I was like, didn't have air conditioning in the 80s?
Porn sets have fluffers. 80s movies have oil boys.
Everybody was so sweaty, and nobody was like doing anything.
Especially was just the villain of this movie, Bull Hurley, the reigning champ.
He's just like.
I actually don't think Central Air was a big thing in the early 80s.
And plus, they're in Vegas and California in this movie, so they're sweaty the entire car ride. And then you have Sylvester Stallone. The plot is he's this guy. He's down in his luck. He's a trucker. He really wants to connect with his son, who's a piece of shit, by the way. The whole movie, he's like, "Fuck you, Dad. Fuck you. This kid sucks." Sly, I feel so bad for him in this movie. And then the grandpa thinks he's a deadbeat. The grandpa in this movie is a rich prick. He's an asshole. So Sly's got to prove them all wrong. He's got a little secret weapon. It's called going over the top. It's a move where he switches positions and then takes down somebody. It's the best. If you think it's cheating, you're wrong. This is a fantastic film. It works in all the right ways.
It is cheating because according to the rules of arm wrestling, once you have somebody in your grasp, it is illegal to let go.
It was just the pinky. Just the pinky.
He let go. If you look closely at the scene, he let go and re-gripped himself. Hence the move.
This is going to turn into the whole.
Hence the move where he goes like this, like all his fingers.
You're one of those people that think Johnny was in the Karate Kid too.
Oh, Johnny was the hero of that story.
We're not going to get into this anyway.
Johnny Lawrence was the hero of Karate Kid.
No,
Danny was the bully. I will die on that hill until the day I die. Danny was the bully in Karate Kid.
I think we're in agreement. Over the Top holds up.
It holds up
in the best ways it can.
It is an ultimate Sylvester Stallone movie.
Yes, I would put this, if you love movies like Roadhouse or just the ultimate like manly macho movie. Oh, this is the perfect
with
movie
a heart of gold.
With a heart of gold.
He wants to be a good father to this boy he deserted for 10 years.
And they play Meet Me Halfway like a bunch of times, and it's the best. It's the greatest.
And you
They're doing like
you got trucks, you got big burly men.
he's like
arm
teaching his son to
wrestling.
do air karate or Tai Chi or something. They
Right.
pull off to the side of the road to do Tai Chi. It's cool. Johnny Lawrence was the Karate Kid. You guys are crazy.
Thank you. Johnny Lawrence. This is why I love Cobra Kai so much, not to go on a tangent here, but Cobra Kai is really showing that Johnny Lawrence was actual hero and Danny was the villain.
This isn't true.
It's true.
Did you, Danny Lawrence, Danny LaRusso.
Daniel LaRusso.
Sorry, Daniel LaRusso gets beat up the entire movie. In
Why?
real rage.
He's the one that instigated the fight because he was
He didn't instigate.
he was going after the girl that was already dating Johnny. And then not only that, Johnny was smoking up weed in the bathroom, minding his own business.
That was unwarranted.
Minding his own business, and then Danny comes here with the water hose and has to get him all wet. So then he had to beat him up again. And then Daniel comes in. Then Daniel comes in. You did. You messing up his eye. You messing up his buzz. You gotta get beat up. And then Daniel comes in with the illegal move in the All Valley tournament.
That was not illegal.
That was an illegal move according to the
no
rules.
more Karate Kid talk. I'm done.
Because you're wrong.
No,
because you're losing the Karate Kid talk.
Daniel should have minded his own business on that beach. Shut up, Julian.
See? Look, there we go. I am vindicated.
You are all crazy.
3-1.
So this whole, you guys watch the Karate Kid, and you're what, rooting for? Do you watch and go, oh, half the audience is sitting in that theater going, oh shit, he's doing the crane, and you're the one guy going, no, he can't do that, it's cheating.
It is, because it was a kick to the face. That's cheating. That should be no point. There should be no kick to the face. You cannot touch the face in a karate tournament.
Nobody said this. Did you take karate?
I did take
You're
karate.
a Cobra Kai sympathizer.
I took karate when
You're
I
a
was
Cobra
a
Kai
kid.
sympathizer.
I got up to a yellow belt in karate. I'm a yellow belt.
So that is over the top. It's pretty awesome.
It is. I love
Johnny was an overreacting bitch, though. What side are you on, Julie? What side are you on?
Tony,
Pick a side.
My dad just said a movie we're trying to figure out is Very Bad Things.
Very Bad Things. That's the movie. That one's really, it does the Weekend at Bernie's thing, but I think that one holds up. It's from the 90s. It's really dark, but also incredibly funny. The cast in that is awesome. Okay, so even Daniel's teacher tried to teach Daniel right from wrong, and Daniel ignored his teachings. You guys are, come on, Brett. Come on, don't take his side. Mr. Miyagi did Daniel right. I mean, Daniel's turned out
Mr.
well.
Miyagi tried to get him not to fight because he knew Daniel wasn't wrong. That's why he said, "What are you using karate for? Is it because you want to protect
learns.
yourself?"
The whole movie is about him learning. It's
Why is he
growth.
learning though? Because he's a bully. He's learning not to be a bully anymore. This is what Mr. Miyagi is teaching him.
They gang up and beat the shit out of him. They take turns beating the shit out of him.
Because Daniel's a little shit. You don't go after another man's girl. The whole thing
He
is
wasn't his girlfriend anymore.
they were still dating. They were at the beach. They were
on a
dating.
break.
No, they weren't.
He breaks her radio.
Listen.
They were on a break.
Thank you, Gabe. Yes.
They
See?
were on a break.
All right, next
You
movie.
were wrong.
Next movie, I win. First person to say I win wins. I win. I won. Okay, so next movie is Alienation. This is a movie that I picked. I had never seen before. I've seen a lot of people defend Alienation. I love buddy cop
love this
movies.
movie, actually.
And I said, you know what? I love buddy cop movies. I love Jimmy Caan. Let me see how this movie is.
Mandy Patinkin. I didn't even know that was Mandy
I did not
Patinkin.
know that was him the entire time. I'm with Tony here. Gotta say, fuck Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai. It's all about Eagle Fang karate. Yeah, it's true. I mean, Eagle Fang's pretty cool. Cobra Kai is a great show. But Alienation is the basic buddy cop setup. It's a 90-minute movie.
Right.
It's a quick set, and it's a lot of fun.
It has one of the sexiest alien scenes.
And it has one of the sexiest alien scenes. It's like, it makes you feel bad about getting turned on because she looks like one of the Coneheads, but with a really big rack.
Oh, I have to ask this question.
Yeah.
Would you have sex with an alien life form?
I mean, if I was Jimmy Caan in that moment.
No. You're Tony Crespo in this moment.
But you're single.
But what
But you're
kind of
single.
alien is it? Like,
And
is
just
it like the
it just
aliens
any
from Arrival, or
the-
like
any alien, any alien.
I think it would have to be.
No, he's single.
in
he's
this
single.
scenario.
In this scenario, he's single.
I
Gabe asked
Do
me
I get
this
to do it,
question,
too, then?
I guess-
Yes.
Do I get to do
Absolutely, yes.
But I don't know. It's kind of a trick question because here's the thing. I'm gonna go off the theory of this movie, right? Because let's use this alien because she's pretty hot.
Right.
They mentioned that the guys don't have their I assume their dicks down there. They're maybe on the sides because they said that when Jimmy Kahn tries to kick the guy in the balls, it doesn't work because the guy doesn't have a penis there. I think it's on the side. So where am I putting my penis in this alien life form?
Armpit.
I don't know about that. I mean, I was up with it until that moment.
But did you get the joke about the condoms?
Yes.
And they're like, oh, but these fit?
These
And
fit.
they're like, they stretch on these, but still it fits?
Yeah.
Kanye West had sex with an alien once, even wrote about it with Katy Perry.
That dude's so crazy, I would believe it.
Listen, I would take, and to quote, Jay from Jay and Silent Bob, I would definitely do it just so I could walk by somebody and be like, hey, that guy fucked an alien once.
Sure. Only alien I'm doing is Blackfire. I don't know what that is.
That's probably a Star Wars reference. If it's Julian,
maybe
it's a Star Wars.
Maybe it's a manga thing. Sure, this alien. Sure, I don't know. Aliens have weird things in different body parts. They have like 8 vaginas and 7 boobs and things like that.
Guess.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, you got to do it.
The 3-boobed alien from
Total Recall. Oh, she was incredible. Yeah, that would be my pick. The 3-boobed alien from Total Recall.
Glad they brought her back for and the reboot.
In the reboot, yeah, they did. So that was Alienation. What were your thoughts? I quickly brushed up because we went straight to Alien.
Yes, we are talking about fucking aliens.
Yes, we are.
Why not? It's the 80s.
It's the 80s. They even say it in one of these movies. I don't. It was batteries not included. This is the 80s. They're aware. They're aware of this the 80s. What were your thoughts on Alienation?
Alienation was a fun, different take on the buddy cop. You had 48 Hours. You had the
48 Hours, Lethal Weapon, Red Heat.
So you had to differentiate from the other buddy cop movies that were coming out at that time. So this one was the perfect way to make it definitely its own version of a buddy cop movie.
Yeah, no, this was a lot of fun.
It was definitely enjoyable.
You also can't ignore the social commentary.
The social commentary was very good.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, no, thank you for bringing that up because that was something when I was watching I was like, wow, they kind of like nailed it a little bit too.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny how a lot of like social commentary from the 80s, it still applies to today. With drugs, race.
Well, it goes back to we mentioned 48 Hours. Nick Nolte is racist as hell in that movie. And in here, Jimmy Kahn is kind of racist towards this alienation too until he learns how to really accept them. I'll do an alien and it better be from out of this world experience. Out of this world experience. That's true. You got that right. Alienation was a fun one, man. If you haven't seen Alienation, guys, really check it out. It's only 90 minutes long.
So it's not that long. The dude from Clockwork Orange is in it.
Terrence Stamp.
He
played. He's General Zod. So he played General Zod. He's the villain of this. So.
Right.
Alienation was really, really good. This is another movie I'm super excited to talk about. It's big in the horror community. I've put it on as background noise, but I never sat and actually watched it.
The Burning.
It's The Burning. 1981's The Burning. I watched this with Victoria on Tubi TV, which is a great app. If you guys don't have Tubi TV, this is an ad for Tubi. They paid us. You guys should download that.
We're now getting Pepsi money
and Tubi TV money.
Tubi TV money.
So we can have Tubi TV, which is a free app, by the way. And every room of my house sponsored by Tubi TV.
We get it for free because
we get it more for free than you guys get it for free, but it's still for free. But what's really cool about this app is the selection of horror films is phenomenal. They have so much stuff. I love the Munsters. They have like everything Munsters related on this. I sat down one day. I watched some of the made-for-TV movies and stuff. So I was like, Tubi must have The Burning because if it's not on Shudder, it's definitely on here. And it was such a fun experience.
I do have an issue with Tubi though.
What's your issue with Tubi?
I hate commercials.
So why would you watch it on Tubi TV?
Because that's the only way I could watch this. It wasn't on any other streaming platform. I couldn't rent it.
I love commercials.
I hate commercials.
I
pay extra not to see commercials.
So we just lost our sponsorship with Tubi TV.
But Tubi TV is great though. Yeah, I watched it on Tubi because the commercials are not that long.
They're only like 90 seconds.
90-second commercials.
The Burning. It was a I think this is more in line with movies like Sleepaway Camp. As
Better
opposed to
than
Friday
3/4
13th.
of the Friday 13 franchise. I would agree. It's not better than Jason X though, which is the best Friday
Stop
the
that!
13th
Don't say
movie.
that. The Burning is great. I love 3 and 4 on Friday the 13th, so that would be tough. But The Burning was such a fun experience.
It was.
Young Jason Alexander, George Costanza
with hair. It was so
He's with
weird to
hair.
see him.
and he survives. Obviously, you can't kill off
George.
You can't kill off George. Come on.
Art Vandelay.
This is also such an interesting take on the slasher because instead of the final girls, it's the final boys.
The Final Boys.
But the final boys. So it's a lot like Sleepaway Camp in terms of
New name of the show, The Final Boys.
the final boys. But I really enjoy this. And another actor, I forget his name. He's also one of the main characters, Albert. He was in Fast Times in Ridgemont High, another fantastic 80s movie. Forgetting his name, somebody find out the name. He's in this. He's the nerdy kid that tries to sleep with.
Shut your face, Jason in Manhattan is the best.
Jason in Manhattan is not the best.
No.
But The Burning had such cool kills, and I believe Tom Savini had a hand in that. I think this is some of it. Yeah, is that true? Okay, some of his early work in this. The setup is so classic, like campfire story setup.
It is a very classic 80s slasher movie.
Yeah, and it's just the whole time I was like, yeah, I dig this. Like, I'm with it. Like, this is like my vibe. Like, the whole time I was like, cool, now we're doing this. We're killing this person. I'm all for it.
And it didn't feel like it didn't feel like one of those cheesy 80s slasher movies, like, where they mass produced just because they wanted to make a quick buck.
This is like very much like it's scary, it's tense,
scary, it's
quick.
tense, and they put some thought into it, and they're like, all right, this is what we're doing.
And the characters are fun to watch. I love summer camp movies like Meatballs and stuff, so I'm sold whenever I see stuff like that, and you had a horror twist to it. Tom Savini did The Burning over Friday. That is the story. He did The Burning over Friday the 13th, Part 2. The Burning needs a remake. I think we mentioned that on the Reboots episode with Destiny. I think she might have mentioned The Burning needing a remake.
It's you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, right? Because there's people that hate reboots, so they would hate to see a reboot of The Burning. Because
if we do remake it, final boys, no final girls, final boys.
They have to have final
You know
boys.
what? They should remake The Burning as an all-gay camp comedy.
What if they have a final boy girl? Half boy, half girl.
They already did that with Sleepaway Camp.
Okay.
But this was awesome. I'm sure. I mean, Brett's seen this movie. I don't know if Connor's seen it, but everybody in the horror community seems to love it. So this was a cool one to knock off the bucket list.
Yes, it was, because I've never seen it,
and it held up to all the word of mouth that I've heard about it. It was awesome. It was really good. So that was The Burning. And okay, so let's. I don't know where we're at right now. So let's. You know what? Summer School is next.
Summer School.
This was a pick that I came up with. I need to see The Burning. You do need to see The Burning, Connor. I think you would like it.
You would. If I liked it, I know definitely you're going to like it.
Yes. Summer School, Carl Reiner, who is the father of Meathead, Rob Reiner, he directed a bunch of comedies in the 80s. He directs this movie. This is Mark Harmon from my favorite TV show of all time, NCIS.
NCIS?
No, it's not my favorite. But he is a great actor. And this is about a gym teacher who's going to Hawaii, who's pretty much told, hey, if you don't teach summer school, you're not getting tenure.
Right.
And hijinks ensues. And there's also some really cool slasher movie nods in this and a ton of Texas Chainsaw
Tons
nods.
of Texas Chainsaw Massacre nods.
I thought this movie, I used to watch it as a kid. It didn't hold up as much, but I still had a lot of fun with it. And he's the main reason.
You know what?
He holds the whole movie.
He does hold the whole movie up. And you know what? Christy Alley was such a babe in the 80s.
She really was, wasn't she?
Right. This
and Look Who's Talking. This was about 2 years before that one.
And this was his first American movie. She had done other stuff internationally, but this was her first.
She was
American.
doing like stuff for Jenny Craig before the whole thing happened with her. Unfortunate way.
No, but that, and then they had a whole weird plot line where he had like a 17-year-old student.
That was like, but you know what? He was like,
him.
this is weird, but it's also weird. Like, why are we stopping to do this? Why is she trying to bang her teacher so badly?
And why are we stopping that? Like, why did he stop that?
No, we're not having that kind of debate.
It's a debate worth having.
It is not.
It is.
All right. But I did think this movie was funny. It was, I don't know if it holds up as well, but he carries it. He carries it to the finish line, and that's what matters.
He does. I needed more of the dog. I needed more dog.
That's what I was about to say. His dog was hilarious. It was awesome. I like the little moment where they're sharing the peanut butter and stuff,
Right.
Non-sexually. But it was such a great moment. I really liked it. But yeah, that was Summer School. So a lot of really good comedic actors in there. Carl Reiner is a great comedic actor, great comedic director. He directed this.
Any 80s slacker movie, right? Because Mark Hamill plays a slacker. You got the love interest, and then you have the superintendent who basically plays like the
if you don't do this,
right.
You know what I mean? Like he wants to catch him red-handed and things like that.
On everything, yes.
But he's a slacker that means well.
Yeah, he's a surfer guy.
Yeah. So and he wears visors too the entire movie.
Yes.
This was a fun one. I don't
visors
have much
should come back.
No, they should not.
Visors are coming back.
Frankie Muniz tried wearing one.
I know. I remember.
All right.
We talked about it.
Okay. So I think are we on the last movie?
Are we?
I think we are. Anyway, I'm gonna go through them. I'm pretty sure this is the last movie.
Colors.
The last movie on the list is Colors.
Colors.
This
was my this was my pick.
Tony's never seen Colors. It is basically about two cops in LA. One of them is basically getting too old for this shit.
Yes,
and he's
Robert Duvall.
He's about to retire, and he's showing the ropes to a rookie cop played by Sean Penn.
Yes.
And Sean Penn in this movie plays a racist cop. Well, racist, but he plays like the antagonist. He's not.
See, and this is where we're going to get into it. So this movie, it starts off very much like Gabe is Arnold and Tony is Danny in Twins. We could remake Twins. We could do the sequel. So I really enjoyed this movie in the first half. And I remember texting you saying, I kind of love Colors. Like, it's totally up my alley. It's very, like, bare bones, on the streets, stakeout, ride-along movie.
Yes.
For example, Training Day, right?
Training Day. Reminds me a lot of Training Day.
This is where the movie's problems begin. Because Robert Duvall and Sean Penn are way too good for the movie. They are fantastic in this. And there's somebody else that I saw in here that I'm blanking on that wasn't a big name then, but it was one of the early roles. And I wrote it down and I forgot. It'll come to me. Maybe.
Okay.
Who knows?
Maybe.
But they were so good in the movie, and the setup was so great. The last half of this movie, they focus like the entire third act on the gangs,
right?
Who are very stereotypical, cringy, like Saints Row,
right? The
cholos.
Spanish isn't really
like, you know how
good
like
Spanish.
You know when you go to the hood, if you play GTA 5 and you go over to like this area and it's all like the Hispanic gangbangers, so like, hey, what's up, Holmes? That's everybody in this movie. They're all a non-playable GTA character,
but very white. They have,
but they're very white. Like these cholos are like white and like brown, and like what? They're all everything but Mexican,
right?
But they spend so much on there that I'm like, where's Robert Duvall and Sean Penn? And the payoff for those two characters doesn't happen the way I was hoping.
No,
I feel like the movie also cops out on a major thing with Sean Penn, major missed opportunity,
which we talked about right now.
We talked about before we started recording. So that brought my love down. I went from loving it to going, it was okay.
Right.
Like, it was like, honestly, like, it felt like the second half was directed by a totally different person.
Right. Which this movie was directed by Dennis Hopper, who in his own right is a Hollywood legend.
He's a great actor.
He's a great actor. The movie does suffer in the third act. It does suffer because it gives a unwarranted redemption arc to Sean Penn's character. I don't think he was worthy of it.
No, he was not worthy of it.
He was a piece of shit throughout the entire movie. And then towards the end, it's like he's like the savior for this movie.
He's such a piece of shit to the point it's almost comical, where you're like, okay, you made him the villain, he's got to stay the villain.
Right.
And Robert Duvall should realize, oh, fuck, like, this dude is, like, crazy. I'm going to be the one that has to stop him. That is not the plot.
That's not the plot at all.
turn the movie takes. It goes into something totally, totally different.
A bunch of Miklos? Yes, a bunch of Miklos, basically.
So
a bunch of Tonys.
The movie was, I don't know. It was, the first half was, I loved it. Second half, it was a tale of two halves. First half, loved. Right. Second half, really dropped the ball. But the cast, the two leads are the reason
they
we watched
played very well. Sean Penn and
Robert Duvall is great in these kind of roles where he's got to play this like Down and Dirty Cop and things like that. He's always
Or
great.
like the mentor, because he does a great job in Gone in 60 Seconds with Nick Cage as the mentor of, the older mentor to Nick Cage. So like when Robert Duvall gets involved in that sort of role, he just aces it.
He's great. There's a reason why he's one of the best. So they worked well together. So the movie, I would say, overall works just because of those two. But I truly wish that ending was completely scrapped.
Different, yes.
Yeah. So that was our watch-a-thon of the 80s gems, man.
80s gems.
We just burned through all of those. You more so than me. I watched 9 of the 11 movies.
I watched 11 out of the 11.
Yeah, you watched all 11 films, and I'll get to Roxanne and Little Darlings at some point. But man, Connor, thank you for giving us that topic, because this was a ton of fun to really like dive into what movies to check out and pick the non-obvious choices.
Non-obvious, because I've gone on record to say I'm not a big fan of the 80s, and the nostalgia factor of the 80s I don't really get. Mostly because by the time the 80s ended, I was 7 years old.
Right.
So like there was no point. Like I'm more movie-wise and nostalgia-wise, 90s. Like 90s is my jam. But the 80s, it was fun to see some of these movies and revisit them. Especially in the non-obvious ones, like you said.
Yeah, no, I think the movies that stood out for me were for sure Alien Nation, Better Is Not Included. Blowout, I'm not going to say because it's one of my favorites. I kind of cheated there, but I knew you hadn't. I know a lot of people haven't. So I said, what, let me sneak that one in. But definitely this was a fun week watching these, man. This was really, really fun. Yeah, Connor, thank you for that. Julian says, do underrated 90s now. Go with Powder.
I love Powder. Oh, dude, I could do an hour-long episode on Powder and the meaning of powder.
We can do Powder without mentioning Victor Salva, if that's cool.
Yes, obviously.
But yeah, no, Powder is a pretty good one. That would be a pretty cool choice. Maybe we do underrated 90s.
But that would have to wait because we have some big news about next week's episode.
Yes, we have a big episode for next week.
So because of March Madness, I had the great idea of doing Final Girls March Madness tournament bracket style. So we are going to probably after this episode sit down and probably do our favorite 16 Final Girls across slashers, possession, all type of different horror genre movies.
It's Battle of the Final Girls.
Battle of the Final Girls, which I already know in my mind who's going to win, but
we'll see about that, man. I'm gonna throw down the gauntlet because me and Gabe are gonna debate. We're gonna have Victoria.
Yeah, I feel like our general public like it when we debate karate style.
Yeah,
type here. We're gonna
for the crane kick, which is totally legal, by the way. It's a valid.
Danny is the bully.
That's not part.
Let's
of it.
not go back to this because you're wrong.
But Victoria will mediate the battle, I think, and choose the winner based on whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna go debate style.
We're gonna go debate style.
Like 1990s debate style movies.
Yeah. Decide, not Victoria.
The who?
Viewers should. You think the viewers should? All right.
It should be like.
I can moderate.
Victoria will moderate. Aaron from Your Next better be one of those 16. Don't you worry, Brett. She's on there. She's. I mean, we got to put her on there. She's a doomsday cultist prepper. So she was all prepared for her battle with those killers. She's on there for sure. Maybe we do. Maybe we have viewers decide who the winner is.
Decide who's the winner is.
But we're super excited for the episode because we've had it in the works for a while. We've been talking about doing it, how we can do it, what would be the best way. So I think the best way right now would be to condense it all into one big episode, which we will do next Friday. So join us in next Friday to talk about Battle of the Final Girls.
Battle of the Final Girls. Who's going to win? Who's the number one final girl?
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I know we're cutting this one short tonight, but we went on for 2 hours yesterday talking about X. So those that have seen the movie, go back and watch that.
Thanks for watching yesterday's episode of X. I hope you guys had fun with it.
Yeah.
I know I did.
Cool.
I feel like X, and I'm going to go back into X here a little bit, but I feel like X is a modern classic. Instant modern classic.
X is a modern classic. If I had a list of movies where I go, man, when it comes to horror movies, these are the ones where I think about the modern era. Get Out, X, Ready or Not, I throw out there.
Right.
The Invisible Man, I'm really tempted to throw up there because I think there's nothing really wrong with that movie that I personally enjoy that one a lot. But X is 100% up there. So
yes.
Thank you guys for checking that out.
Thank you guys for checking yesterday's episode out.
And then thank you for tonight, everybody that jumped in and joined us. We had so much fun talking movies with you guys. If you have any other viewer submissions that you go,
let us know. We obviously have, you guys can follow us on Twitter, on the channel. You guys could follow us on our Facebook, Instagram. Sometimes we do some stuff on TikTok. I do.
And OnlyFans. So thank you guys for a great show. Everybody
I show a little man boob on OnlyFans.
We show more than that. You're gonna get your money's worth on OnlyFans. If you pay our premium price of $29.99, you get everything. No upcharges. That's $29.99 flat. All right.
I want to thank our sponsors, Wild Cherry Pepsi and
Tubi
TV.
TV.
Tubi TV.
Thank you, Connor, for the submission. All right, guys. You all have a great night. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff.
And if you see Tony in the streets, go punch him in the face.
We'll bring that back. You guys all have a wonderful evening. We'll see you next time.